welcome back. My name is Ebony Harris.
And I'm Elisa Bokeen, and we are two brown chicks changing the face of therapy on both
Both
sides of the
sides of the
couch.
couch. We are back with a new episode, and we're excited to have our friend Khaliah Guillory here with us from Nap Bar. Thank you for joining us.
Yes! Yay,
Hey.
yay, yay,
Always a
Hey
good
friends,
time.
I'm so happy to be here. Always a turn up.
yay.
Exactly. We're excited to have you, and we've had you before. You are one of the few. We only have like 3, I think, people that have returned. So you are one of the very, very few that are invited back. So we thank you for joining us again. And
It's a whole
so
honor. Thank y'all.
tell the people that haven't heard your first episode a little bit about you.
Absolutely. What's up, dope humans? Khaliah Guillory here. I am a Forbes featured certified sleep expert. I'm a lover of humanity. I love 80s hip hop, 90s R&B. I'm obsessed with sunglasses, watches, and listen, if I could go a little deeper, I'm really truly obsessed with sleep. So much so, I am the founder and CEO of Nap Bar. Yes, you heard me right, Nap Bar, like go lay down. And it is your first of a kind white glove rest sanctuary, artificial intelligence rest sanctuary that we curated for sleepy humans, like everybody that's listening to this and watching this, to go in, pop in, take a luxury nap. You can get a meditation session, you do a little yoga, whatever your heart desires, and you can refresh, recharge, and rejuvenate, and then get back out into the world and be your great self. So that's me. That's a little bit about me. It's Khaliah Guillory and Nap Bar.
I love it. And the first time that we had you on, I think Nap Bar was like you had just begun to manifest this idea. I think the first time we had you on, you were actually, it's how we met you. You had a documentary on mental health, and you had
Right.
come on to promote that and had begun, I think you had just begun kind of conceptualizing Net Bar. So
I'm almost
seeing,
certain of it.
yeah. So
Mhm.
seeing how far you've come, and we know as clinicians that there is a direct relationship with mental health and sleep. And so look at how that happened, right? You came in talking
Mhm.
about mental health, and now we had to sleep.
Mhm.
Bada boom, bada bang, bada bing.
And I know that you've also gotten a lot of training and education around sleep as you've done this. And I will say, Ebony and I, we were able to go to Nap Bar and actually
Yes.
experience this. And that was an experience.
Yes.
I remember Ebony and I were like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
It was a very nice spa-like nap experience. I don't even know if that's, but that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to us then, Khaliah. Like, why is sleep so important to our mental health?
I mean, sleep is the baseline of everything, right? If I could get a little nerdy for a second, a lot of people don't realize this, but when we deprive our bodies of restorative rest and adequate sleep, our bodies doesn't get a chance to process the way it's supposed to. I'll give you an example. When we go to bed at night, that gives our brain a chance, the memories from the day to download. And we're also allowing our body to cleanse out the toxins in our body. So imagine whenever you get, people who are team no sleep and I'll sleep when I'm dead. If you ask them if they've been up for like 24 hours, 48 hours straight, and you ask like, hey, what did you eat for breakfast this morning? They'll be like, I don't know. The reason why they don't know is because they haven't had a chance for their body to download those memories of the day. So imagine if you are in a profession where you got to be on it. That's pretty much everybody, right? Like your people's lives is going to depend on this decision that you're going to make. If you're not getting yourself adequate rest, imagine the human error. NASA conducted a study on sleepy military pilots and astronauts, and they found that a 26-minute nap increased their productivity by up to 34% and alertness by 54%. When we think about our mental health, as many of us, as I'll speak for myself, I put on that COVID, that those COVID pounds, right? And a lot of people don't realize this, but your mental health is also associated with how you see yourself in the mirror. And lack of sleep also contributes to weight gain. And so, whenever we expose that and we share that with some of my coaching clients, they're like, man, I've been in the gym all this time, and I've been eating right. I was like, well, talk to me about your sleep hygiene. Talk to me about your bedtime rituals. Talk to me about, let's not talk about you getting into the gym, or you're training dirty and you're eating clean. Yeah, that's good, but what's up with your sleep? What is your relationship with sleep? And so I am definitely on a mission to demystify this braggadocious culture of team no sleep, just because, to simply put, it's enslaved mentality, and our body deserves more. If we want to operate at capacity and catapult to the next level of greatness, well, we need to get rest, because lack of rest is, simply put, it feeds into your depression and anxiety and all the things that can impact us from being able to really truly be out in the world the way that we want to show up in the world.
You hit like so like there that's like a whole dissertation, right? In all of that, like everything you just said. I mean, from the production, but also um, just the lack of alertness, how COVID impacted all of this. One of the things that you said there at the beginning that really stood out to me was that is when we download the, what happened in the day, which automatically took me to why we have some of the dreams that we have,
Hmm.
right? Like, making that connection in
Absolutely.
our brain, processing all of that. um and then I know, like with pilots, right? Like pilots have to get a certain amount, like they can only fly so much, they have to get a certain amount of sleep. So it just makes so much sense, right? And then at the same time, what you're talking about at the end, where, and yet we live in this culture that celebrates depriving our bodies from slowing
Yep.
down, from getting rest. And it is very much rooted in this idea that humans are for production and producing, and that's what's celebrated. So to
Yep.
be to be going out there and telling people, hey, let's get more sleep, right, is really a form also of resistance. And I know that your way, the reason that you came to be, I didn't ask you this at the beginning, but kind of like even how this idea came to you is because you were part of that. um
Listen, y'all, I was a part of the Team No Sleep Club. I had a T-shirt to prove it, a literal T-shirt that I made that
Wow.
said Team No Sleep, and I wore it with pride because I come from corporate America, and I was given all these atta girls and high fives and pats on the back whenever I would say, "Oh, they was like, oh, how did you get this report to us so fast? Oh, I worked through the weekend, and I didn't leave the office, and oh, it's Monday morning, and I haven't slept all day." Like it's crazy, and you're applauded for that type of behavior because society has told us that's what it takes for you to get ahead. And one day I woke up and I was beyond sleep deprived, and I didn't even know it. Like, that's the sad part about it. It's because I have been an avid napper my entire life, so naps were saving my life. But if without those naps, there's no I already know I wouldn't have been a functioning human being. There's no way it could have been done. I was traveling 75% of the time and working 85 plus hours a week. You can't, how do you sustain that? You can't. You absolutely
right,
can't. And
right,
my levels were shifting. I mean, I wasn't feeling healthy. I wasn't
right.
feeling good. It was just, my depression was at its whole all-time high. I mean, it was so many things. If I could go back and look at it, it's pointing to the lack of sleep and sleep deprivation that's been manufactured by this society that we live in. And I would say that's the American culture, because you go out across the pond to Europe and
Mm-hmm.
Japan and Asia and these different countries, siesta and go is a thing. I went to Italy, and don't try to do anything for a couple of hours in the afternoon because they have shut the country down. They
Right,
don't care if
right.
you're hungry. They don't care if you need to take whatever. They are done. They are taking their rest. They are on siesta. So it really truly is trying to reverse engineer the way we Americans really have our relationship with rest, and specifically, brown and black people, BIPOC. Like we are the ones that really truly need to reevaluate our relationship with rest. Because, just speaking for myself, I mean, my mother worked at a refinery plant for 33 years, and I could count on one hand the amount of time she called off from work.
Yep.
You
Yep.
should be able to deserve a mental day. You should be able to, if you're sick, you shouldn't have to, force yourself to go in. Hey, come on now. And I think, especially for my generation, we grew up in households like that. And so we've been conditioned to do so. And now it's a matter of unconditioning what that looks like for us and giving ourselves permission to do so.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'd also like to add that Khaliah is one of the most energetic humans that I know.
Definitely.
So for you to get to the point of exhaustion, you probably were doing more than 85 hours a week, because
I
I've
was,
never met
ooh,
anybody with as much energy as you.
oh,
That's
friend.
very true. It's interesting having this conversation. So today, this is just a little behind the scenes for me. Today, I have been like very sluggish. I have a headache right now that is out of this world, and I didn't even put it together that it's probably because I didn't get enough sleep. I traveled. I was supposed to
Mhm.
get. I'm in Dallas right now. I was supposed to get here at like 8 o'clock. My flight got pushed back, and I didn't get here till midnight. And then I couldn't go straight to sleep when I got here because my brain wasn't ready for that. So I ended up staying up to like 2, almost 3 o'clock in the morning. Then I had a 9 o'clock presentation I had to do. So that means I had to wake up at like 7. So I'm sitting here like, why am I so tired? I didn't even put it together until you were talking and you were kind of
Wow.
saying like, this is the reason why we have these different issues. And we don't even think about it. We
Mm,
just think just work harder, go harder. Right.
Right.
And so I'm so
right.
curious about like, what are some of the common reasons why we aren't getting enough sleep?
What you just said, we are going hard and we're not giving ourselves enough time to pause, to be still. And I struggle with this myself, right? And despite the fact that I take a nap every single day, I mean, just yesterday, this week was, I was tired all week and I kept waking up like, oh, I'm so tired. I knew I was doing my sleep routines because when I thought about it, the previous week I had a huge campaign for Nap Bar and I was going heavy at it, right? And this week I'm feeling the residual effects of what my behaviors were last week. And so this week, I yesterday I laid in the bed all day. I had a shark day. I didn't do any work. Now for me, a shark day is I can't leave the bed. I can only go to the kitchen to eat and to the restroom, to the bathroom. That's it. But if I go anywhere else outside of my house, then the sharks are gonna swarm and they're gonna come and eat me. I don't know. It's dramatic. But those are my shark days. And but to get back to your question, it really the stem of it is stress. A lot of common causes is between stress and we are just overworked. We are burnt out and don't know it. And the last piece is just poor sleep hygiene, right? We're not setting a set schedule for when we wake up and when we go to bed. A lot of my customers or my coaching clients, they come to me and they'll go to bed on Monday at 9 and then they're up at like 1 a.m. and then they stay up all day and then they crash. Or and on Wednesday, they'll go to bed at 11 and then they'll wake up at 7. Well, your body has this thing called circadian rhythm. It's your internal wake clock. If you're not consistently going to bed at a consistent time and waking up at a consistent time, your body doesn't know what's going on. It's kind of like with shift work. If you are used to working overnights and you got to make sure that you keep the space that you're in black out and pitch black while you're trying to sleep, because the moment the sun rises, your body is going to think naturally, oh, it's time for you to be up, when reality is you should be asleep. The poor sleep hygiene is a really big factor to it. It's not committing to a bedtime ritual. It's having these things attached to us whenever we are getting ready for bed and scrolling through Insta and liking posts on Facebook right before we're trying to go to bed. That blue light that's illuminating inside or emitting into our eyesight is telling a function or sending a message to our brain saying, hey, there's light, you're supposed to be up, because our brain is very, very smart. And so if we can commit to not sleeping with this thing, I personally haven't slept with my phone in my room, gosh, since 2017. That was like the last time I did that on my birthday. And so now it's plugged into the kitchen. It's still my alarm clock, but the last thing I do is I'm going through my gratitude list. I'm thinking about the things I'm happy about, and I'm visualizing the day and what I want the next day to look like. And then the first thing I'm doing when I wake up, I'm not scrolling on Insta. I'm not checking email. I'm not stimulating my brain. I am taking the first 45 minutes of the day for me. And some people are listening like, oh, I don't have 45 minutes. Well, take the first 5 minutes of the day for you. Write out, journal, write out your gratitude list. Say your prayer. For me, some depending on the day, I might listen to some trap music. I might listen to a little Jay-Z. I'm on this Beyonce Renaissance album like crazy right now, so I might be listening to that. So it could be some gospel music. It just depends on what my soul needs to be fed in that particular moment, so I can really truly reach my capacity of greatness for that particular day. And from week over week, day over day, sometimes minute over minute, it just looks different. And we just have to be open to being okay with changing it up sometimes.
I think one of the things that I thought about also, when Ebony, when you were sharing about not even recognizing, and I think this again really speaks to Black and Brown folks, where we talk about regularly, like we're so used to just taking on more, taking on more, taking on more. And sometimes I
Hmm.
think our, barometer for you're doing too much, like you need to
Yep.
rest, is off because of the messages that we've gotten about just keep going, and we become so disconnected from what we're actually doing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's so true.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this then. With all of the research you've done and the studies and everything that you've learned about sleep, what's been the most alarming thing that you learned about as it relates to how sleep deprivation impacts us?
I got two. I'm gonna give you a bonus one. The first one I would say is, you know what? It's lower libido levels and less interest in sex. It is a
So
direct
true. Yup.
correlation to lack of sleep, and so people don't even think about it. Say, oh, I'm not feeling my sexiest, or he doesn't think I'm sexy, she doesn't think I'm sexy. Well, when was the last time both of you guys had enough energy and desire to want to have a little extracurricular time? If you're tired and you're lacking energy, that's the last thing on your mind. Because right now you're like, oh, I hope I can go to sleep and stay asleep. Especially if you're
Yup.
suffering from insomnia, you're waking up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. The last thing you want to do is be up late, and you're thinking, well, I'm gonna be up in a couple of more hours. So no, I'm gonna just try my luck and go to sleep right now.
Right,
That's
right.
probably the most alarming one. And then the second one is that sleep, there's a thing called drowsy driving. And drowsy driving, per the CDC, has stated that it is equivalent to driving under the influence. So for folks who are getting consistently less than the CDC recommended guidelines of 7 to 9 hours a night, if you consistently are doing that, you are equivalent to getting behind the wheel and driving as if someone has taken a substance and or alcohol. And I mean,
Scary.
I mean, the numbers are alarming. And I think in the U.S. it's like over 300,000 crashes are blamed because of drowsy driving. So it really truly is a thing. There's some
Wow.
fatalities that have been attached to that as well. So it's really a thing. A lot of people like kid about, oh, well, sleep, whatever. That's a luxury, and I'm like, no, it's a necessity. It's something that we absolutely need, and we really have to re-envision the way that we approach it, because it's not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's so needed.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's interesting when you said about the libido piece, and I was thinking also, when are people going to bed together? So many people just like wait to the last possible minute, like, oh, I need to go to sleep
That
right
too.
now, and then that's when they go
That
lay
too.
down. So when do we actually have time to connect? One of the things that I think about often is when we did go to the nap bar, and I stated, and I continue to say this, but I'm just not. I feel like I'm not a napper, right? I don't necessarily. I feel like I'm always angry when I wake up from a nap, probably because I'm taking too long of naps. That probably is a problem. But when I was at the nap
It is.
bar,
It is, friend. It is. You
she said
sleeping. You
exactly
sleeping.
right. I'm taking a sleep, not a nap. So, but when we were at the nap bar, one of the things that was helpful for me and what I've even kind of with my clients and for myself is, even if you don't sleep, there is still benefits in rest. And so to
Absolutely.
be able to lay and have quiet and silence and be still, which a lot of us don't want to do for several reasons, it's impactful. So that was just something that I was thinking about as we were talking. I was like, I always think about like when we went, I did end up dozing off, but a lot of it was just me kind of laying there relaxing, listening to the music and just kind of like being still, which is not something I do very often in general. And
Hmm.
so with that, I'm curious about what are the mental health benefits of napping.
I mean, everything is tied to our overall body, right? It's a holistic approach to everything. So you think about it boosts your creativity by up to 40%. It aids in boosting your immune system. Like when COVID hit, I was big about preaching like make sure you're taking your naps. I know you're at home, but if you want to boost your immune system, you need to do it now. Go and take your nap. Especially for brown and black folks, studies have proven that it reduces high blood pressure, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. This is so powerful, especially women and people of color, because these ailments are, massive in our communities. And, I one of the things that I'm really bent on is how can we empower and give the resources and tools and knowledge to these communities who don't necessarily have access to this or even thinking about it, so that they can see some mental benefits. I mean, the mental acuity is another big one. Your ability to problem solve quicker. I'll give you an example. There be times I'm here in the office and I'm working and I'm like, why is it taking me so long to solve this? Like, I know what the solution is, but why is it taking me so long to connect these dots? And then boom, be like, oh, it's 2 o'clock. It's about time for you to go and take your nap. So I'll literally stop what I'm doing. I could be in the middle of something. It could be a hard deadline, and I will gift myself 20 minutes to go lay down, take a nap, or just unplug and recharge. And the minute I come back, it's like, oh, that's it. That's all I had to do, and then boom, I'm off to the races for the rest of the day. And so, those are the biggest health benefits. It is the benefit. It's the overall overarching benefit for your health, your physical, your mental, your emotional. I mean, you just feel better when you're rested. Everything is good. Like, people aren't getting on your nerves, and you're feeling better at the gym. You feel like you got another set. You can do everything you need to do because you're rested.
Yeah. Can you I'm going to ask you another question, but I think you highlighted to something there, Ebony, like maybe I'm sleeping too much. So what is the ideal amount of time for a nap?
Ideal time for a nap. Thank you for bringing that back up, because I think our friend here, if you're sleeping longer than 30 minutes, then you're falling into REM, which is rapid eye movement, which is the reason why you're waking up groggy, because your body is going to sleep. So if you really want to get that boost of energy from a good nap, 30 minutes, I would say, 30 minutes or less. For me, my sweet spot is 20 to 30 minutes, depending on what I have going on. That NASA stat was 26 minutes, so for the most part, I might set my alarm for 30 minutes and give myself those 4 minutes just to kind of get in the right position, get comfortable, and then I'm off to my sleep. But I always say there's a caveat to all this, right? Per the CDC, you should be sleeping 7 to 9 hours. There's always going to be exceptions to the rule, because the CDC doesn't know your body makeup, it doesn't know your DNA, it doesn't know your genetics, it doesn't know all this stuff. So I have some clients who are operating at greatness at 5.5 hours per night, and I have some who require 9.5 hours per night. I mean, there's a huge variance, but the thing is that we figured out what works for them. They're not waking up groggy. They're not waking up tired. They're not moody throughout the day. They don't need caffeine to keep them going throughout the day. So, it really is finding out what your sleep IQ really is, and what does that look like, and what do you need to do to achieve that every single night. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's something that's learned. It's a learned behavior, and it's something that can definitely be achieved for sure.
Yeah, that I like that. Sleep IQ. Okay. And I'm definitely gonna
I just
fall
That just
more.
came to me. I feel like I
Yeah,
need to write that
I
down.
was like, do you have like
Write
a
that down.
quiz to like?
Right.
Yes, we need a quiz so we can
Yeah,
determine our sleep IQ.
Yes.
See, look at that.
Yes.
And that happens.
done.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm more towards the 9 hours. I'm like, I know there's folks they wait. I'm like, that's just not me. Never been me. I don't think it'll ever be me. But I like what you said. You got to figure out what works for you. So,
hmm
what would you then say are your top three tips? Top three tips for better sleep.
My first one is my favorite one, is take a bath every night if you can. Right? Maybe it's multiple times throughout the night. The reason why bathing and taking a bath, well, not bathing. you all bathe, right? But taking an actual bath is very imperative for me. Is because I also, as I mentioned earlier, I suffer from bouts of depression, and so taking a bath has been linked to minimizing those depression bouts that I have. And it also, because when you take a warm bath, it warms up your inner core temperature, and then when you get out the bath or when you're done, you immediately start to cool off. And when you do that, it sends an indicator to your brain that, oh, hey, she must be about to wind down. It must be time for us to go to bed, because you had a complete change in your core body temperature, and now your body and your brain recognizes like, hey, I think it's about time for us to go to bed because it's dark outside as well. And so that's my first tip. The second one is making sure that I surround myself by live green plants, especially in my bedroom or in the bathroom. A snake plant, an aloe vera plant, because those have been proven to clean the oxygen in the air. They also help if you have allergies. They help with that, and it just help you get some restful sleep at night. All right, so yeah, so I also recommend get your roll on. The roll I'm talking about is a foam roller. Like, like when you work out, you get that little thing from the gym, and you roll your achy muscle out because it'll just help expand that soreness. Well, that also mirrors a massage, and we all know what happens whenever you get a massage. Whenever they're done, you're thinking like, oh, I could just lay here for another 20, 30 minutes and take me a nap. Well, the same thing is going to happen. You're duplicating that same experience. Would you do a foam roller? And or get inside of your bedroom, sit on your bed and actually do bedtime yoga. That's actually a thing. If you Google bedtime yoga in the bed on YouTube, there's a plethora of videos that will pop up. Those are definitely helpful too. Just stretching of any kind, just especially specific movements, will help your body start to unwind and get ready for bed. And I'll tell you a bonus tip is mood lighting. Mood lighting is like my end all be all. I take a bath, I have mood lighting on, blue lights on when I'm taking my bath. I don't have any light on but the blue light, because blue light is linked to helping with depression. Green light is linked, studies have shown, been linked to helping with inflammation in your body. I mean, so there's so many different things you can do to help you really mentally unwind from the day and get ready for bed.
That's dope. That's really good, and I think that's going to be really helpful. It's very specific too, right? It's not like put your phone outside late. Like it's no like take a bath, relax your body. Like that's perfect. So,
Do it
so
now.
yes,
I know.
exactly.
I was like looking for my mood lighting. I was like, ooh, the blue, because I have like that little up lighting, and I was like, ooh, where's my blue?
Yep.
Look at me, I'm about to turn on
Are you
my
about to
blue.
turn your light?
I'm about to.
You turn your lights
Let me see.
on.
Let me see.
Turn
Let's
it
see. Let's
on,
see.
She
E.
Let me
said
see. Let's see. Let's see.
she's gonna be
Okay.
taking a nap before our next meeting.
I was gonna
That's
say
my
I'm
plan.
getting sleepy. I'm about
That
to.
is my
Let's see. Did it
plan.
work? Okay. Let's see.
There you go.
There. Okay. I'm set. Look at
Ooh,
that.
there we go. You said. You said. You
Nap
said,
time is
friend. Night
happening.
night. Nap nap. You can get your little
Ooh,
nappy
about
poo.
to go sleep. Yes.
That's so funny. Okay, so we are about to wind it down. I can't even talk. And we're gonna ask the question. We know that you are an advocate for therapy, mental health, and all of that. So we want to hear, why do you think therapy is dope?
For me, it has allowed for me to operate at my greatness and show up as I am, who I am, and being proud of that every single day. Being therapy has been a sounding board for me, and my actual therapist is the person that I can tell the things that I'm afraid to tell myself in the mirror, right? And then I know there will be no judgment. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, is because there's that sacred relationship that you have with your therapist, because they're not judging you. They're not going to give you any feedback based on they knowing your experience as you were a kid or anything like that. I mean, it's just an incredible relationship, because you can truly show up in the most vulnerable state, tell this person, and they'll give you tools and tips and resources, and they'll even love on you to help you get through whatever it is. And it's the same loving that you get whenever you're high, whenever you got great things going on, and when you got a little bit of drama going on. You know what I mean? Like it's still the same thing. I mean, I love going to therapy. It's like, man, I get to go to therapy today. Like, let's go. It's like, all right. And it's I've been in therapy pretty much my entire adult life, because my mother passed away when I was right after my 22nd birthday. And the reason why I'm in therapy is because of my big sister. I went dark for a whole year. I wasn't going to work. I sat on the couch. I gained 50 pounds. All I would do is wake up, I'll eat donuts, go to sleep, watch TV, get some chicken wings, some French fries, go to sleep, watch a little TV, wake up, and then eat some hamburgers. I mean, and that was it, because my best friend was gone and I didn't know how to process that. And so finally one day my sister came to me, flew in town, and said, Mom will be beyond disappointed because she sacrificed way too much for you to be sitting on this couch playing small. And the next day she
Mm.
checked me into therapy. And so I owe everything to my big sister, because that was a pivotal and critical time for me in my adult life. Because, I was just becoming an adult. I was still forming. And
Right,
so
right.
20 plus years later, I will sing to the rooftops the importance of therapy, when not just when things are going bad or whenever you're in grief, or therapy all year around. Because and I might not need that much check in now, but I still check in, like, oh hey, I need to tune up. When are you available? I need to talk to you. And so I will always be a huge advocate for therapy, because therapy is really truly dope.
That is probably one of the best answers I've ever heard.
Oh.
I'm like, this gonna be a soundbite. This gonna be like the rolling intro.
No, that was good.
that
That
that yes, I love that. And there were so many things that you said in there that just, I think, as a therapist also, we love to hear, right? Because I think a lot of the people that we have on the show are typically therapists. And so many of them have also gone to therapy. But to hear it from somebody who is not a therapist and have the same sentiments in terms of why we think it's dope, I love that. I love that. Okay. I already know
Absolutely.
this and that answer to this next question. Everybody already knows the answer to this next question.
definitely.
But we want to hear it from you. Why are you a dope human, dope sleep guru, dope entrepreneur? Tell us, sing your own praises.
Oh man, you know what? I would have to say it's because you guys might know this cat, Michelle Ngame, came on my podcast like years ago. Years ago. Like this right around the time when y'all were on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And she said, I've committed to die empty. And that stuck with me. And the way she
Mm.
described it was, I don't want to leave this world and be afraid, and be afraid to not have the courage it will take to do everything that I designed to do and what I had intentions to do. And I adopted that big time. And I've committed to die empty. I think that's where my dopeness comes from, because I told myself I will not take my last breath, and they cremate me or put me wherever they put me, and that's where all the $1 billion ideas would be. They will be out in the world when I take my last breath, attached to my legacy for generations to come. Creating jobs for my community and helping folks close a racial gap with wealth. Because my why is to allow for generational curses to die with my parents, and I'm gonna birth a generation of wealth, of innovation, of wisdom. And so in order for me to be able to really truly operate in that capacity, I have to die. I have to commit to dying empty.
That's awesome.
I think I might be a little sleep deprived because and maybe not, but that made me tearful. Like you made my heart swell.
Yeah.
I'm like I was very moved by that answer. Oh my goodness,
Oh,
that's
friend,
beautiful.
I
That's
love
beautiful.
you.
Yeah, I
This is
love
why
you
she's
too.
KOG Speaks, because she knows what she's
Yes.
doing. She knows how to
Yes.
motivate and transform and all
Touch
of those
hearts.
things.
And
Yes.
because
I love
I
y'all.
also know that you are doing those things. That's the
Yeah.
other piece.
Yeah.
Like we can attest that yes, that is very much what we see you doing. And so that made
Yeah.
my heart sound. Thank you
Your
for
your
that. Yeah.
authenticity like shines through, as far as
Mhm.
like you just show up and like are a genuinely good person. Like just
Yes.
I don't know how else to say it. And it's every
Oh,
time
thank
we talk to
y'all.
you, it's very clear, right? So we want to make sure people know how to connect with you. How do they, if they want to work with you, they want to find that bar, they want whatever, how do they connect with you after they listen to this amazing interview?
Absolutely. Nap Bar. You guys can check us out on our website. That's nap, NAPBAR, now, NOW.com. On any of the social media platforms, we're at NAPBARHOU. And then me personally, if you want to check out, and also the book Sleep Consultations, you could click the link on the website I just gave you. For me personally, if you're looking for corporations, you need a keynote or anything like that, I'm at KOG KOGpassion.com. That's the professional speaking firm and consulting firm. And across all social media platforms, I'm at KOG Speaks. And then I think on LinkedIn is my full name. And it's too many alphabets to spell out here, but you will see it whenever they drop it
Yeah,
in
we
there.
will have all that linked, of course, and make sure that we have people make it easy for them to find you and support you. We really
There we
appreciate
go.
you for joining us and
Yes.
being here to have this conversation. It went from like, yes, take a nap, to like inspiration, and to like
Yes.
validation in our work and all kind of stuff.
Let me go ahead and take a nap so I can get out there and change the world. Yes, yes,
Exactly. I'm
yes,
like, let
yes.
me
Go lay
start writing
down.
this book.
You
Let
better
me get
go
everything.
lay down. Yeah.
Yes, we appreciate it. And we probably will have you back for a third and fourth time coming up over the years. So
Yes.
thank you
I
so
got
much.
y'all. Just let me know. I believe in the work you're doing. I believe in the lives that you're changing on each side of the couch.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you,
Exactly.
friend.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone that is listening and or watching. You can follow us across social media at Melanin and Mental Health, Melanin Health on Twitter. Also, make sure you go to melaninandmentalhealth.com to find a dope therapist, to find our previous podcast, as well as if you're looking for dope merchandise. And we will see you next week.
All right.
All right. Bye.